My name is Benoît Charles-Lavauzelle. In 2007, I started a company just after my studies. I'm here, and with a friend of mine called Fabrice Bernard. This startup is called HelloMatch. It's a search engine to find the bar where you can find the games you want to watch. After a few months, we realized that the market was not as big as we thought. It was a big problem. So we tried to understand what we could do, because the bars was really hard to convince. Their business sense is not very high sometimes. It was what I thought. And they were not eager to pay a lot for the service. So after 2 years, we were running out of cash. We had no clue how we could make it and pay the wages at the end of the month. But we had two assets. First, because my business partner Fabrice and I were engineers, we built a solid technical team from the beginning. The second asset we had is we had joined a business incubator. And so time to time, there were other startups we were asking us for some advice. And one day, one startup came to us. He was looking for somebody to build a custom software for his company. I realized it was a good opportunity for us. We need some money. We had a technical team, so we can make something, maybe. The company was called Chrysalid and was specialized in auditing accessibility in public buildings. We completely transformed the business from a purely pen and paper business to complete automated business, diminishing in the process the lead time from 3 weeks to 3 days. It was a great success, and we had fun. So we decided in 2009 to create Theodo. But the first 3 years of Theodo, between 2009 and 2012, was far from a honeymoon, actually. Why? Because we were working in a fixed features and fixed price contracts, and at the end of each project, the clients wanted to change everything. And at this point, we had two possibilities each time. First, we can accept to change everything and put our company in financial danger. Or we can refuse to make the changes and accept that we had done a very poor job. So the clients were unhappy because most of the time we refused, of course. And I have a little anecdote to tell you. One time, a client called Pascal, actually he's on the slide, got so frustrated that he threatened me to break my knees. I was calling him, so it was okay. It was not so dangerous. If I would not develop some new features for him for free. So at this point, we decided to reject the status quo. And we wanted to try to build a software service company who would not only bring some real value to its clients, but also be profitable, of course, and help its employees to grow and progress. This is the journey, still in progress, of course. I'm going to tell you about right now through 3 different stories. The first story is about the business model. The second story is about hiring, and the third story is about sales. First story to start. So we had a lot of problems in those days, and the first problem we wanted to solve was our client satisfaction. So Fabrice and I explored a few hypotheses, and we decided to jump to the methodology one. We wanted to look at the methodology. Maybe the methodology we were using was not so good. It was a classic reaction, I think, for the young engineer we were at this moment. So when you're lost, I think a good thing to do is to look at the best practices. And when it comes to software development, a good idea is to look at the web leaders, of course. Google, Amazon, Facebook. So we try to find out what is their secret. How can they succeed in implementing so many features so fast for millions of users? Actually, it was quite easy to find. You just have to Google it, of course. And what do you see? You find two words, a lot of, you find lean, of course, but we found two words, very important words, agility, often with another concept called Scrum. So we had a new solution for the problems we had, so we tried it on a new project called Suivi+. And here comes the results. The team spent 3 times longer than expected on the project. What we built was so far from our clients' needs that they never used it. It was a complete waste and a complete failure. And this was really bad news, because we tried almost everything we understood about Scrum. Stand-up meeting every day, the classic meetings described in the Scrum guide, review, retrospective, planning. We had a team, Scrum team, with a product owner, a Scrum master, a technical team without any hierarchy. So it looked like we did it. We followed the rules. But it didn't work. So maybe we jumped to the solution, to conclusion too quickly. So change the methodology was maybe not the main problem. So we decided to look at what happened on this particular project. The first thing we saw is the product owner was a Theodo developer. Why? Because the client didn't want to be the product owner. He told us, do your job, develop the features I described it in the specifications. I've already done my part of the jobs. I don't have time for your game, I think he said. And on the project, when we asked him some more details on the feature, we had to wait at least 1 week to have an answer. When we finished the feature and asked him to validate it, nothing happened before the very end of the project. So we realized that what we really needed was our client's implication on his own project. But we didn't know how to obtain it. Happily, in those days, I was reading a famous book called FREAKONOMICS. This book gives some amazing demonstration about the power of incentives. When I read it, I realized that in fixed price contracts, whether the clients were involved or not, it cost him the same amount of money. And worst, he expected the same results. Everything was written in the specification, of course. So it was clear that our business model in those days did not create the good incentives. That's what we thought. So we decided we should test time-based contract instead of fixed price contract. In this new situation, the client would have some incentive to have a productive team as if it was his own technical team. So we tried to propose it to our clients and new prospective clients. And what they said is, no, thank you. They were polite, so they said, it looks great. But in my case, I need to know exactly how much it will cost me. And I'm not sure with this new methodology I will know. And by the way, I really think I know what I want. I'm not sure I need this agility stuff you're talking about. Okay, so maybe we had a solution, but our clients will not buy it. A few weeks after that, I had a discussion at the end of a project, the UK project. And to be sincere, it was not very friendly. Why? Because the client, Adrien, his first name, was really frustrated. He told me that, in his opinion, we were really inflexible at the end of the project, and that we had refused every change he had asked at the end of the project. It was not true, actually. It was not what I thought. I thought that it destroyed my margin completely because I had accepted a lot of things. So I was quite irritated too. And because I was irritated, I told him, it's your fault, actually. It's your fault because at the beginning of the project, I proposed you two different ways to work together. And I proposed him to work in a more agile way on a time spent basis. And he refuses this possibility, and he prefers to work in waterfalls and on a time spent on fixed price contracts. The end of the project, no work for free, and he didn't accept it. So he sent me something at this point, and I think I thank him. I met him again 1 week ago, and I told him that thank you for what he said, just what he said in those days, but I will repeat it just right now. He told me, you are the experts. You should give me no choice but prescribe the model that will lead them, your clients, to success. He told me it's like I go to see a doctor, and he asked me which treatment I prefer. You are the doctor, and you should prescribe the good medicine. I was stunned. And then I asked the question which looks natural. Okay, if I didn't give you any choice and propose you only the agile way, would you accept to work with us? He thought about it during a moment and replied, probably not. Probably not. So this was the tragic situation we were 2 years ago, 2 years and a half ago. I could choose between two options, which would probably lead us to failure. The first option would keep on doing waterfalls, which with fixed price contracts and the poor results we got. Or to impose agility and change our business model, with the risk that our clients would prefer to select a competitor. We decided to take the risk. Why? I think it was not rational. But I think we decided that because we would prefer to be honest and poor than not so poor but completely depressed. And to show you the result we got, let's see the evolution of Theodo turnover from these days. We multiplied by 4 our turnover in 2 years. So it was working, actually. Why such results? 70% of 2013 turnover is existing clients buying again. In 2013, even if we had refused any new client, we would have had 50% growth. Why is that? Because our clients are now satisfied as they were unsatisfied before, and they were really unsatisfied. Now we have KPI about that. Every week, at the end of each sprint, we send a survey to our clients, and we ask especially whether they would recommend Theodo or not. It's a yes at a 99% rate. So I learned, and this is, I think, an amazing news, that as a software service company, we don't have to choose between honesty and profitability. We don't have to sell our soul to succeed. That was my first story. My second story and it's natural, it's about hiring. Why? Because it was great to have some satisfied client, but we had to face the brutal increase of the demand. If we did not find any new developers very soon, our clients would be unhappy anyway. So the first problem we had to solve is quality, because before recruiting massively, we had to know how to recruit good developers. And sometimes we failed about that. This is an example. It's not his real name. The name was not Damien, but sometimes we recruited some Damien, and they were not good at developing, actually. And each hiring mistakes brought a lot of problems. First, it put the project in danger. Second, it demotivated the team and the other developers. And finally, it deteriorated the reputation of the company. I think the worst of it usually took a lot of time to realize the mistakes and react. You have to realize the mistakes, and then you have to react. And react in this situation is very hard when you're the boss, actually. So the hiring process we had in 2011 looks like this one. It's a very simple process. It's the advantage of this process. It looks simple, but it's completely inefficient. What did we miss? And in those days, Fabrice read a book. The name of the book is Smart and Get Things Done. It's a book from Joel Spolsky. And the book is about how to hire the best technical talents. So Fabrice read it. And one of the things Joel Spolsky says is, would you hire a magician without asking them to show you some magic tricks? The answer is, of course not. And for him, and for me too, because I know I think like him, it's the same for developers. If you want to know if the guy is good or not at developing stuff, you should make him code. So as a consequence, we progressively, not in one time, and progressively implemented some, in the new process, some technical tests, 4 of them actually. One of them is pair programming session with an architect. The results were really good because since then we hired 30 new developers and with no more obvious mistakes. Now that we solved a part of the quality problem, because it's not that simple, of course, we had to address the quantity problems, because it's not the same job to recruit 5 new developers in 2011 and 24 new developers in 2014. So we had to improve a lot in every aspect. At the beginning of 2013, we were doing a lot of interviews, and we had some very poor results. So we had a look on the process to look for waste. Where was the water leak? It is at this moment that we realize that only 50% of the applicants accepted the proposition we made. 11 out of 21 accepted the proposition between the 3rd term of 2012 and the 1st term of 2013. It's a very bad flow, definitely. So we tried to understand why. And the solution when you want to understand why is to ask your client, of course. So clients were the applicants who refused the proposition. So we asked them. And this is what they answered. The location is not good, wages, the office is not cool, the company is too small, etc., etc., etc. We didn't identify any pattern. And we felt very frustrated because we were losing this candidate at the very last moment. So it didn't bring us the solution, and we wanted to, but we felt that we wanted to see them again, because we deeply thought that the value proposition we were giving them was really good. So we finally decided that we will make the final proposition face-to-face, that we should make the final proposition face-to-face. So from the beginning of 2013, it's the choice we made. It's job offer in person. So with which results? We have a 50% in a conversion rate before, and then it was 90% conversion rate. Wow. So sometimes the simplest solution are the better. So thanks to that, we achieved a goal in 2013 to hire 12 new developers. But I think we have a lot to learn right now because we are late. This is a Benoît chart. We use it for almost everything. And we are late. We should have hired already 5 more developers. So it's still in progress. My third story is about sales. So business was growing, but actually we had a lot of variability. As a consequence, in 2013, we faced a low staffing level during a few months. I think it's the biggest danger possible for a consulting firm. First, because when developers are not working, they feel useless. The worst of it is they stop making progress. And of course, it puts the company in financial danger because you pay some wages without any revenue in exchange. That's why in Theodo, the most important standard is 100% staffing level for developers. So we tried to understand why we had this low staffing level. And we realized that the problem looks quite easy to see and to understand because only one business developer was making developers busy, as you can see on the slide. So, of course, I was thinking what the others are doing. So I asked 2 of them. So I remember it was on Friday at the end of the day. And it was in the middle of June 2013. And I asked them a very simple question. What is your job? They didn't answer very quickly to this question. And then they said a lot of things. Sell developer teams, sell architects missions, sell conceptions workshops, Azure consulting, Scrum training, and so on and so on. I just wanted to hear one simple answer to obtain 100% staffing level. So I was very far from it. So it's interesting. It was really interesting because the only one who was actually selling developers, his name was Julien, and he was the only one to have access to the staffing spreadsheet, who actually was on my computer. So we decided to make the staffing list really easy to understand. So what we do is, this is a staffing list. We created this green-red box concept, which is a revolution. A box represents a work week for one developer. A green box is when the developer has already a project, will have a project this week. And a red box means we have to find a project for the developer this week. So this looks really simple. So after making it really simple, we made this list visible. First, we put the staffing list on the business development board. Then we put it in the kitchen for the entire company to see it and to feel concerned. Finally, we changed the financial incentives for the sales teams to be incentivized only on the number of green boxes. Thanks to this clarity, every business developer is now focused on the developer staffing level. In 2030, we had only one business developer who was really efficient. In 2014, we have 5 business developer who has some results. And more of that, everybody in the company feels implicated in the staffing. So the problem, one of the problems is solved, but all the problems are not solved. Because in our business, it's really hard to have some visibility. Usually we have 1 month or 2 months of visibility. So on a regular basis, we have what we call a staffing crisis. A staffing crisis, visually, you can see it, it's a wave of red boxes. They arrive. It threatens our staffing level and so the health of the company. And that's what happened this year in June 2014. The red waves was arriving. So I was talking about it with Antoine Contal, my lean coach, and he suggested me that we should attend a stand-up meeting because the sales team has a stand-up meeting every day. So we went there, and what we saw was terrible. During almost 30 minutes, the 3 business developers were talking about some projects we would start in 1 or 2 months. And during these 30 minutes, they did not mention once the 6th developer available in 2 weeks. We realized, and I realized, that the team did not know how to react. Thanks to this go and see, we implemented a reaction guidelines. Instead of looking to some projects which would start in 1 month or 2, when we have a staffing crisis, we start to look at the projects in progress because it is the easiest source of green boxes. We look to we have a look to the project history of each developer too, because their availability could interest the clients they already worked with. We looked also to the strengths of each developer to identify which projects they could help out. Also, we created a WhatsApp group because in this stand-up meeting there were only 3 business developers, so a lot of business developers were not here for any reasons. So, thanks to WhatsApp, and at the end of each stand-up, we can inform everybody, and each developer can react immediately. So we made big progresses in 2 domains. Short-term reactions, thanks to staffing crisis guidelines, and long-term sales, thanks to our strategic alignment. This gave some very good results in 2014. This whole year, we had a 100% staffing level. What it means is not a single day a developer was projectless. So, of course, all the problems are not solved at all. And I want to talk about another problem we have. Actually, the business developer know how to sell projects, but they don't know how to find new projects, to find some new leads. It's a big problem for us because our growth is very fast, and so it's a scalability problem. Only Fabrice and I, my business partner and I, bring some new business, and 14 deals against 2 deals. It's a big difference. And people started to think that we had some magic powers. I heard this sentence: Fabrice and Benoît, it's different. They create leads like magicians. They have an incredible network, and things like this again and again. In the same times, everybody told us your sales team should do some cold calls, some prospection and cold calls. You have to buy a database and call it one by one. So we gave it a try. We didn't know how to do it, so we started to hire a coach, and 2 business developers did it during 10 working days. Here are the results. 2 leads, it's quite good. Only 1 converted and 2,000 euros of turnover. Complete disaster. Happily, a few months ago, one of our business developers wanted to solve this problem, and this is Pierre-Olivier. And he started to try to understand what is going on, and what he realized is something amazing. It's not we are not the only one to bring some new leads, some new businesses. One of a new business developer who arrived in October 2013 bought already 2 new sales. So it's better than leads, it's sales. And so what is she doing, actually? Actually, she was doing exactly what Fabrice and I was doing. Having lunch with people she knows, trying to help out and give news to these people. In one word, it was not cold call, it was networking. And as the magic power we had was not magic powers, it was just networking. So we implemented recently one-to-one training to explain what you should do if you want to do some networking, and a visible board in the business room to visualize the networking activity and valorize it. Results? I guess you want some results, but I don't have anything to show you right now because it's too recent. I will show you next year maybe if I am invited. But I'm very optimistic. To conclude my speech, I want to say something very positive. I think what I learned this year is we have an extraordinary potential in our companies. This potential are the people. And to reveal it, you have a 3-steps process. It looks simple. Clarify the expectations. I think it's the most important part. Teach basic gestures they need to understand and to know to succeed. And then teach them how to solve new problems. So, I have something to ask you, at least to the managers here. When you come back to work on Monday, take one of your people and ask him or her, what is your job? It will be difficult. But if he or she answers something unexpected, listen in silence. Take a breath. It will be the beginning of your lean journey. Thank you very much.